Attention, attention, stop what you're doing. Because we're coming back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Oh my God!
They went a little crazy with it, and I appreciate it.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So Johnny Million, during the break, I was telling you that it should come as no surprise in the chat room either, that I wake and bake the news most days because of my, especially on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, when I have 2 streams a day. I stream 9 a.m. Pacific and at 3 p.m. Pacific on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And the morning show that I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday is, it's not like the other ones where I play clips and react to them and that kind of stuff, like Trump clips and Hannity clips and whatnot. We go by what's trending. And the jobs report that came out on Friday was teed up, and I knew it, and I got up when the cat got me up, which was about 5 a.m. And
you guys are just asking for food.
Huh? Oh,
asking or just asking for food.
Asking for food. There's a
okay.
There is now a schedule. Chip wakes me up at anywhere between 4:45 to 5:15 in the morning. If and he chooses it by how late I went to bed. The later I went to bed, the earlier he does it. That's because you were
like
just
his
up.
Style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He jumps up on the bed, starts purring immediately. It's like the Jaws theme. I hear it coming. He walks over to me, and then there's a series of stages of grief that he goes through.
Oh, it escalates.
Yeah, he walks over me, around me, he lays down next to me, bumping me, like kind of giving me a side check, like a hockey game, and then at some point he starts kind of playing, and then he's genuinely biting, and then it's annoying noises, and then he's running lines across the bed. He said, up, just, all right, I get up. So I go up and I fix some food, then I come back to bed, and I try to go back to sleep and usually read myself to sleep. I'll get the early news, and then I'll sleep for another hour, I hope. Then Maddie comes, she steps on my junk, and I realize, like, she's got junk-seeking paws. It's amazing. And then I'm like, all right, I guess I'm up. And then Murphy comes in meowing at the top of his lungs, waking everyone up. And because he's like, everybody's up, everybody's up, everybody's up, 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 up. It's like, anyways.
It sounds like the beginning of a musical.
Oh my God. So, needless to say, Friday was one of those days. And I get up and I pick up I go through the news, and like the jobs report comes out, and oh my God, it's humongous. 528,000 jobs were added in July, double what everybody was expecting. Well, in the normal world, 4 times what Fox was expecting. Fox was saying the White House is trying to, like lower expectations, apparently. I think they knew it was going to be better, and I think they were lowering expectations to just pull the rubber band back and watch everybody squeal. But Fox was like, the White House is saying 250. Because that's in, that'll be the lowest this year. So that means it's probably going to be 170, maybe even 70. There were like Charles, what's his name on Fox Business was saying, yeah, it's probably going to be about 70,000 jobs added. This president is out to destroy the economy, and this will be the month he finally does it. And da 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 da. Well, 528,000 jobs. Unemployment hits 3.46. Latino unemployment is the lowest in history.
I've got something to say about what a bad job that Joe Biden does destroying this country.
Yeah, I know. You voted for him to destroy the country like a good lefty.
I was counting on it.
Yes, hello. And he hasn't done it yet. That's why everybody's upset. No, that's why we've got to go third party in the midterms, right? Okay, so if we want real change, if we want this country to, if we want somebody to grab the wheel and jerk it hard to the right on a wet, slippery mountain road with no guardrail, he's not the guy to do it. And I was hoping he would be, right? So, huge, like, surge in the face of the fact that the Fed had raised interest rates an enormous amount, 2 times in a row. And oh my God, this is there. If anything's going to slow this hiring thing down, man, it's going to be the Fed raising these rates. And okay, well, no, it was a beast. It was and it points to the fact that, and they were like, everybody who wanted bad news out of it were trying to make bad news as best they could. And the way they were doing this was, well, Walmart and a couple other places, they lost a few jobs, and they had to let some people go. I mean, they're hiring in other areas. And it's like, yeah, because they're shifting away from their non-retail model, which was prevalent during the pandemic specifically, back to a retail model as people go back to regular life. Because my favorite example of people exaggerating the impact of the pandemic long term was, will we ever shake hands again? Remember that stuff? Remember when everybody was like, is this the end of the handshake? There were like 20 articles over the course of a week that I saw about how we're not going to shake hands anymore. Human beings are going to we're all going to be namasteing because we're all going to be stranger danger, bacteria averse. No. Anyways, the numbers.
The difference. It's always now what? Am I going to marry dogs?
It's always a slippery slope.
Crazy extreme or maybe we could just exercise a little bit of caution and maybe wash your hands and maybe wear a mask when you're in close quarters.
Well, yeah, maybe it's the 80-20 rule. 20% of the things you do cause 80% of your problems. 80% of the things you do cause 20% of your problems. If you get rid of the 20% of the things you do that cause 80% of your problems, the majority of your problems go away. You focus on those, not the 80% that maybe you can't even shake those things. And that's true of all things. It's always true. So anyways, let me show you this real quick. So I'm putting this up on the screen for people, but this is the basic news. My favorite part in this line, and this is New York Times, but Bloomberg said the exact same thing. Post was saying this. Even Fox Business buried this idea. The jobs report suggests President Biden is right about a recession, meaning we aren't in one. We have 2 quarters of economic contraction because we are reshoring factories in this country at the fastest clip in American history. And we are cutting off ties with China, and we are making up for some of that trade imbalance by sending it to Europe and renewing our commitment to the NATO countries instead of the cheap production that was given to us by China for a long time. That is gone now. Let me explain that to you. There is no going back to China is the manufacturer of the world, the factory floor of the world. That ends. That's over. That's not happening. And you know how you know? Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan. That's how you know. The last time a Speaker of the House went to China and went to Taiwan, China was on its way up. They got upset about it, but they needed us so badly to keep their economy afloat because of a combination of Bretton Woods and our Navy protecting all the shipping lanes while China got on its feet, that they couldn't complain that much. Now they can complain all they want, and they apparently they think they have everything they will ever need from the rest of humanity and can basically wall off their entire country from the rest of the world. And as long as they get to grab a couple of things that are worthwhile before they walk down the street like the jerk going, I need this, and I need the remote, and I need the chair, right? And also there is no way they take Taiwan. They can blockade it and try to starve it, but there's no way they attack and fight Taiwan in a real war. Not going to happen. And the minute they blockade it, we cut off one strait in the South China Sea, and all the lights go dark in a matter of 3 months. China, again, gets 80% of their food and 85% of their energy from foreign sources with 1.2 billion people, allegedly. So, anyways, the U.S., we've got our issues, but we ain't got those kind of issues. But the process of extracting us from supply chains that were unnecessarily spread out because the cheapness of transport and building stuff in China compared to Mexico or even Canada or even in the United States was I would say like pennies on pennies a difference, which builds up when you're making thousands upon thousands upon millions of items, but contracts really badly the minute you have something like COVID come in and shut the whole place down. The minute they did that and that became the standard, no one is going to go, I know I've got to open a factory in a place I can't afford to open it in the United States to make what I want to make because the employment costs would be too high, the labor costs are too high. You're going to build it in the Czech Republic before you build it in China. It's only going to be, a 10-cent difference in the wage, difference, but it's a way safer bet because it's going to stay that way. It's going to be consistent for decades and decades. Whereas, the Chinese situation, our reliance on China as a primary factory base is gone forever. Ray Dalio is a moron, and he's.
Wait, who's that? What's he saying?
He's one of the guys who's like invested a big hedge fund in China, made a crap ton of money, and everybody thought he was brilliant because he was basically one of the there will be blood China investors early on.
Oh, good.
And
good.
so, of course, there's a boom in the beginning, but he was like, what bust? You know what I mean? Anytime there's an enormous boom like that, somebody on your team should be going, guys, I'm in charge of looking for when we should get out, and this is one of those places. And he doesn't have anybody on his team that does that, and nobody around him that does that. And there's a lot of those folks around. There's fewer of them because they're all broke now. But anyways, the point is that we are not primarily in a recession right now because they're using old markers for a recession, which are not based on these ginormous factors like a pandemic and an ongoing war and everybody making an exit out of China for production. Two quarters of contraction telling you you're in a recession, or we're not even in negative growth, we're just contracting. Those happen when, all things being equal, the economy was humming along. And then it has to do with just productivity and output and business and whether or not Apple's phone is selling at a number that they would like to. Those kind of things. Oh, we got to take a break.
I know I'm only on one day a week. I get it. I'm going to have to jump on GarageBand and start sawing something together. This is the Hal Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive, and all. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Hey, Hal, did you mean something like this?
This is the Hal Sparks Show. Wow. And a guitar note, and then progressive, and all. Yeah, it's going to be good.
The Hal Sparks radio program, mega worldwide.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
So, obviously, unless you live under a rock, perhaps yesterday you at least saw the news stories about the massive job growth in July, as, quite frankly, the hospitality industry came back online because people started going places. I will say that one of the things we've had a lot of here in Las Vegas, where I'm sitting right now, is tourists and rain. Man, oh, Shevitz, it's been raining here. It is monsoon season in Las Vegas. I know that sounds weird to you guys. And I would say by the way, for the record, if you're ever thinking of coming in the, late July, early August, this used to be a very normal thing. And then the last couple of summers, as we've been talking about climate change and the planet heating up and that kind of stuff, it seemed like we were experiencing here a prime example of that. And then it's almost like we handled it and we're going back to normal, because this is how it used to be every year, that there would be a couple of weeks of just downpours and flash floods and weird stuff because they've got nowhere for the water to go. The ground is dry as a bone, and why would you put, like water diversion piping and stuff alongside roads and stuff in a place like Las Vegas when you're first building it? Nobody really thought about that. I mean, they should have, but they didn't. And so it's been pretty fascinating. Anyway, so there's tons of people here. The casinos are all open. I took my son to see the Beatles Love Cirque show. So you're going back to school, let's go see a big show thing. Go out and do something. And have you ever seen that, Johnny?
I don't think so.
When when you come out to Vegas, which we have to make happen, bring the missus. We'll make it a thing. We will go see it because it's a really beautiful show, and it's very inspiring and sweet, and it's got a lot of like footage of them from the BBC and all that, talking around and working and getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the show starts, and it's just huge acrobatic stuff, and it's amazing. Anyways, Ty Tabor from King's X saw it, and then he went and he walked right out, bought a ticket, and saw it again immediately. The first time. It's great. So there's a lot of people here is what I'm saying. The streets are packed on the Strip in Las Vegas and have been all summer. And so you can, it's one of these bellwethers. You can tell, right? It's the same way you can look at, this was why when Fox News talks about how terrible things are in New York City, they don't show their Times Square cam anymore because it shows how many tourists and people and businesses are functioning and moving around. They don't want to show you any of that stuff. And that's why this number was apparently a surprise. Well, anybody who follows me on Twitter notices that when I got up and wake and bake the news as I did, I stumbled across a news story that ABC News had accidentally loaded a pre-written story without the jobs report numbers in it, where instead of saying how many jobs were added, it said XYZ jobs, and the unemployment rate XYZ at XYZ%, according to data released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics on Friday. The report marks the latest sign of an economic slowdown as the Federal Reserve carries out a fight against inflation that aims to slash demand by cooling the economy. Evidence of a softening labor market was mounted this week amid layoffs at high-profile companies like Walmart and Robinhood. Again, garbage. They moved people from one side to the other, and Robinhood was bloated and cut their workforce as people's unemployment started to wane and teen meme stock buyers had less money to play with over the last year. That's what that was. As well as a government report that showed a steep decline in job openings in June. In June, there were 2 jobs for every person. If you have a 50% drop in the too many jobs part, there's still 15 jobs for every 10 employee that's out there. That's not a sign that the economy is slowing. That is a recognition that why even leave the job open? We don't have anybody to put in it anyways. 2 people that already work here. Here, you guys need to work 12% harder because, yeah. Anyways, if you look at and I've posted it on my Twitter feed if you want to look at it, at Hal Sparks. And I'm showing it on the live stream at infotainmentwars.com and at twitch.tv/Hal Sparks. If you've got a teenager, they can show you how to work Twitch. The XYZ 1,000 jobs added in July marks the lowest monthly gain since December and a significant drop from the 372,000 jobs added in June. Moreover, the figure signals a departure from the robust hiring sustained over the first half of 2022, during which the economy added an average of 461,000 jobs. Okay, it beat the average for the whole first part of the year. We added 568,000 jobs. The fact that they preloaded not only their expectation that it was going to be a bad number, but what it meant for the economy, which means that when you put in the XYZ 1,000 jobs added in July, since December and from 372,000 jobs added in June, you could fill in the lowest monthly gain part and the significant drop part if in fact that becomes the truth of the story.
Sure.
In a draft version of the story, the prose about what it means should be the last thing you put in, especially when
and
you...
Driftglass put it in the chat. They preloaded the adjectives.
Right. That's exactly right. Hi, Driftglass. You guys are wonderful, by the way. Hi, Francis. This drives me insane because it is one thing to presume you're going to know what the numbers are because there's a trend in them from the data that you're seeing. But this is a newsroom experiencing what the Dukes experienced in Trading Places. They bought the story, the early crop report from somebody, and it was wrong. I went through and I broke down, because it wasn't even that part of it. It was the way they characterized it were the problem. Now, some people have come back to me and go, well, of course they pre-write stories to get ahead of things. Okay, when you're making a story about data you don't have yet,
right,
get faster writers. I don't know what to tell you, but that's just wrong.
It's not like having an obituary filed away.
Right, because, and this is what people brought up. They do this with obituaries all the time. Well, an obituary, sorry folks, an obituary has one data point.
Yep.
You're either dead or not dead yet. This is
And
the
we've
binary.
had maybe up to 85 years to come up with an opinion.
Right. And you might have to add some credits or some experiences. Within the last, he really didn't do much for most of his life, but in the last 6 hours, he really made news. And here's how.
Boy, he really cracked the bed. Oh,
Right.
oh my God, delete.
Yeah. So and the fact that they were the XYZ jobs added in July marks the lowest monthly gain since December. That might have been true, but there are a myriad of degrees where that wouldn't have been true. By the tens of, if not hundreds of thousands. In this case, it was hundreds of thousands that they were wrong about that. But at what point does it really not mark the lowest monthly gain? There's so many areas where that sentence is useless. If it just beat, the 372 mark, if they were off by 112,000, from their immediate their lowest prediction, which that was the White House again trying to downplay expectations. I found that shocking. And then this whole, moreover, the figures signals a departure from the robust hiring sustained over the first half of the year. It doesn't. As a matter of fact, it kicks off the second half of the year with a hiring spree. Now, it's summer, and you're going to see more jobs. These are seasonal jobs, normally. But because of the nature of the economy, you can't even see the seasonal jobs for the wave of necessary jobs. People still haven't. They still haven't got enough waiters and bartenders and service personnel for all these things already. Much less the extra people they're going to need when Christmas comes around. Or July 4th weekend, or any of these things. We weren't even at that point yet. And so the idea that seasonal hiring has any meaning until we reached, by the way, this week, which is when we got back all of the jobs that were lost. And I don't have to remind anybody that America is short about 1 million people from deaths from COVID and people who are too sick to work or needed a lung transplant or any of that stuff, So far this year, the tight market has offered up a strong corner of the economy, and this is amazing. This is on the second page of the article. But employment data indicated softening on Tuesday when a report released by the government showed the job openings fell steeply in June to their lowest level in 9 months. Did job openings fall to their lowest level in 9 months? Yes. Were there still too many jobs for people to actually take? There are fewer humans than jobs. So what difference does it make if those job openings disappear? There are no people to fill them. It's like, the analogy I made yesterday on my show was like, it's like I've got 5 job openings for angels. And I don't know why I don't have any takers. I'm going to keep them on the board, though, because maybe some angels will show up and take these jobs as, I need 5 guardian angels, just for the schedule that I have running at my job. They're not going to be, it's like, I'm trying to hire ghosts for my real Halloween haunted house. You're not going to get it. Like, what? Why keep the job opening there?
I would go to that one, though. I would go.
I know. And you might get the job just because, like, oh, well, I guess, go to war with the army you have, not the army you want. It goes, of course, if we had at the tail end of it, they said it would be very unusual to have a recession when we're still adding several 100,000 jobs a month. This guy, David Zhao, who they quote in the article. Of course, if we have a surprisingly bad report where we see job losses this month, then that would change the picture, meaning we might be in a recession if the jobs report is terrible. If we see a really bad one, then that might point to we're really in a recession. Guess what? Biden, right again. Sorry. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide, now with 100% more Johnny Million. Follow him at Johnny Million on Twitter. We'll be back right after this.